Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. Are we usually late?
Huh?
Late as
Kavon
usual.
says
I don't think we're
late.
usually late.
6 minutes, guys.
Okay,
We'll be all right.
It's kind of a full schedule here at CHGO, but I late as usual.
We run a tight ship.
I don't like as usual. I don't think we're late as usual.
It's all right. It's easy going. Maybe we make the new show time 3:30-ish.
Ish.
3:30-ish. All right, we're here. Don't worry.
Kavon's got shit to do.
3:30
so.
or thereabouts.
Hey, put it on 1.25 speed. All right, so normal crew is here, 6 minutes late. I'm Sean Anderson. That's Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. He's got a brand new piece up at allchgo.com. The man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. Today we're going to be talking about Yasmani Grandal, and we're going to be giving out some report cards. I gave the grades. I'll be completely clear
Transparent.
here. Yeah, I'll be transparent.
So even though all our faces are going to be on the lovely, lovely graphic, these are Sean's grades.
I hope it leads to
We'll probably
some...
agree with you.
We'll see.
Well, that won't be fun.
I don't
Hopefully,
even
argue.
see these.
All right, he
grades.
wants us to disagree with us.
Yes,
so
I want you to be
Herb?
angry.
Oh.
all of a sudden, you are really high on Yasmani Grandal's 2023 season.
It's my man. He gave me the knee brace.
It's going to be a fun time. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the other catchers, right? So I didn't give report cards to Korey Lee's 5 hits. I didn't give any report card out to Carlos Perez's 10 hits. Sebi Zavala, he's getting an A because he's on the Diamondbacks.
And NLCS.
and
NLC Sebi.
He's got a nice ring to it. And we'll talk a little bit about maybe the next catcher for the White Sox, Edgar Quero. So we'll talk talking catchers.
I don't know if he'll be the next catcher. He's a next catcher.
One
certainly.
of the next catchers. What if he just plays 162 games though?
At age 21?
Yeah, never lets up, never gives up, and just never lets go of that position.
Jumps AAA completely.
It'd be great. I mean, Yogi Berra probably did that for the Yankees. All right, let's jump into Yasmani Grandal. Let's quit hemming and hawing. What should make a 2023 Yasmani Grandal? Because we had a lot of fun in the offseason talking about his hockey training, and he was better than 2022.
I mean, better than the worst year he's had in a while is, I guess, a compliment, but he was hella terrible in 22. In 23, he improved, but really didn't because his walk rate was really low. That's the thing we love about Yasmani Grandal. He gets on base. And this year, he didn't get on base. I think his walk rate was below 9%, which is one of the lowest in his history.
Wow, baseball reference is boogieing down all of a sudden.
It's good jamming.
The Chevy Silverado is lighting up here. We've got a Ray Chevy read later on that.
do.
Truck or treat.
Start playing that. And so I would think like this last year, what he did, he tried to get as healthy as he can as he was at the Blackhawks facility. And our Blackhawks guys said he was there early, lifting, getting his body right the whole time. So he's dedicated to getting healthy and having one last season for the White Sox. As I state with all these guys, one last big-time paycheck. He wants a big-time contract. So if he had that season that he had in 21 this year, he would have set himself up with either somebody on the White Sox saying, you know what, let's just keep on getting with Yasmani, let's give him another deal, or some other team just be like, okay, he's still got juice in him. Now with this another disappointing season, which I believe that he tried to do everything in his power to avoid, it just wasn't there. And sometimes you're just done. The body's telling you that you don't have it enough to be the starting catcher for any major league team. Will he get a contract from somebody else? Of course, because that power could show up sometime for some other team. And if he's a part-time player, God bless. He can do some damage with the bat, and if his eye gets back, with walking. But this year in 2023, Yasmani Grandal, for me, wasn't it. I don't even know what grade you gave him, but if it's anything less than or higher than a D, I can't abide by it, Sean. Cannot.
Yeah, I mean, here I am trying to look up, a nice OPS plus number, and I'm getting the Chevy Silverado song. So that's I've got no stats.
What number do you need?
I've got no stats for you. Sean's got plenty.
77?
Though, so, see, that's bad. No, Yasmani Grandal was not productive this year. No. By his evaluation at the end of the season, which I think was correct, he was he was relatively healthy for him, right? And I think that certainly is a win, right? Best ability is availability. He stayed on the field, and he was not always available, right? There were times where he had to rest, that he was scratched from starting lineups throughout the season. So he was not necessarily the pillar of health, but he did manage to stay at the ready, I guess you can say. But listen, he was not productive at all offensively. Remember, when you sign a guy to a 4-year contract, you're signing him for as much. I know that there's this school of thought that it's like, just get something out of it and it's worth it kind of thing. You've said it before. You've said that you think that contract is worth it for what he was able to do. Mm-hmm. Come on. You're paying for 4 years of an all-star catcher, and they got hardly any of it.
I think you're paying for the front end more than the back end. I hear what you're saying.
I mean, this was the healthiest he's been during a full season in that contract, right?
Yes.
So I'm talking 21, 22, and 23. Played 118 games. Not all of them were at catcher. He didn't hit at all, as you just brought up there. The defense has been subpar the last couple of years, anecdotally, from an eyesight standpoint. It wasn't good. And I don't think that you're going to find, if this becomes a series this offseason where we go position by position, you're not going to find a lot of positions that were good just because the offensive numbers were so poor. I think at this point, now that contract is over, you get to look back on the 4 years, and I think that's probably the conversation we're going to have more than just what happened just this season. With Yaz, it really didn't come close to living up to what that contract was supposed to be. Part of that was out of their control. The first year of it was the COVID season, and then obviously you're not expecting a guy to get injured, and he was injured significantly 2 years in a row, missed so much time, but it just didn't come close. And for that being the quote unquote finishing piece, right? I mean, before Benintendi, he was really the only position player that they felt they needed to go get because they were happy with the young guys that they had brought up through the minor leagues. It just didn't come anywhere close to being what they thought it would be, what Yaz hoped it would be, and certainly what any fans hoped, even bare minimum, expected it to be.
The disrespect to Elvis Andrus. They added Elvis Andrus too. I mean, this young core. Robert, Jimenez, Anderson, etc. You also added Elvis Andrus. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is, like, it was Grandal and Benintendi, and that's really all they added to the core.
Well, but I think they thought that that's all they needed to add.
Well, and they were wrong.
Sure, but I guess the point is when you
never addressed second base or right field.
Well, I guess
Gavin Sheets was their right fielder in 2023.
Well, but when they signed Yasmani Grandal, they had Nick Madrigal, and you can laugh at that right now, but he was a number 4 draft pick.
Yeah, but then how'd they replace Nick Madrigal? They traded away and then just said Elvis Andrus. There you go.
Cesar Hernandez. They said that would be our guy for the final stretch of 21.
I'm not talking all the way up until 2023. I'm saying when that contract for Grandal was signed, it was signed because they didn't have a young guy at catcher that was on the level of Eloy and Robert and TA and Vaughn and Madrigal. And so that's why they went out and got Yaz. And they're like, all right, we've got all these other guys, Moncada, who I didn't mention. We've got all these other guys filling up the lineup everywhere else. They had Abreu still at the time. We just need a catcher and we'll be golden. And they didn't have that catcher because of the injuries. And then in the end, because of a lack of production and a lack of ability to be behind the plate.
But even then, it didn't hurt him in 2020 because he was still producing for them in the postseason. Like, he was there in that end of the season. 2021, they won the division, and he was a large part of that because when he played, he was like Barry Bonds. It really only hurt them in 2022, and in 2023, I mean, a healthy Yasmani Grandal hitting 35 home runs is not going to save anything.
Right.
So, I mean,
I don't know if it's saving things, but it's, man.
Okay, so they win, 70 games because of Yasmani Grandal? Like, I mean,
if somebody in this lineup other than Luis Robert hits 35 home runs,
Jake Berger
on the team.
Oh.
Yeah, it helps tremendously, especially from catcher. That means he at least played, 35 home runs? What did he do in 21? It's 23 and 90, so extrapolate that from 35. That means he probably played 140 games. And, yeah, we're getting some positivity from the catching position. I don't even know, as Vinny said, anecdotally, from my eyes, I saw a terrible catching position, and that cost the White Sox many more runs than it actually helped it. Like, who on that catching position helped offensively or defensively? None. And Yasmani Grandal was at the helm of that. If he hits 35 home runs, at least you could say, at least power is going with it, and we're good for that. And he's helping us be a positive team there. Because you see all these teams now in the playoffs, the ones that are winning, all over the fence.
I guess my point is missed. Like, yes, Yasmani Grandal hitting 35 home runs would have been nice. Okay, but like, I guess that wasn't my point.
I agree.
The 2023 White Sox were not savable by Yasmani Grandal.
I hear you.
That
solely.
is correct. That is very correct.
And hey, even then too. Again, 90? He played the most games at catcher this year. 92 games at catcher, 80 in 2021, and 71 in 2022. So again, he did mention that he was healthy. Oh, we got a different graphic.
It's on a piece of paper.
It's our new updated one from this year,
Okay,
courtesy of our friends in Denver.
Blame Steven. Steven sent me the old one.
Is she going to flash it up there for the people to see? It's on loose leaf
You're,
paper.
you're out, Steven.
You're out.
You're a hockey guy now, Steven.
Your report card sucks.
Hockey guy, Steven.
All right, so it's all of three of our faces, but I put these grades here, and then Herb can react. For Yasmani Grandal's 2023 season, for offense, I gave him a D. For defense, I gave him a C. And overall, he got a D+. And honestly, it's because he played 118 games. Because it's the most games he played in his White Sox career in a season. And after 2022, I'm pretty surprised. Because I think in 2022, all of those were Fs, and he was better than 2022. So that's why I gave him a better grade.
I understand, but that's exactly what you just said. You're grading him on a curve because of the year before. I'm grading him about this year and what I expected from him or any player.
Well, I didn't expect anything from him
at that position. And so anything from this year for Yasmani Grandal, and the C is generous as fuck, Sean, on the defense. So generous.
His defensive grade on Fangraphs was 1.7, a positive 1.7.
Just because he's better than he was doesn't mean
he was worse than 2021. He was 1.4, 2022 4.1, 2023 1.7.
Yeah,
4.1 in 2022.
That's I mean, that's like I don't actually know how to equate that. I mean, his career highs are like in the 20s.
Yeah.
So like he's used to be very good.
Gotcha.
As I always say, when he drops a ball or he botches a catch or a pass, a wild pitch goes by that should have been a pass ball because he didn't move to block the ball. He called the pitch and knows that this guy spikes his curveball, but we're not going to move laterally to block it. Whatever.
Fielding run value also was -1, which puts him on the MLB percentiles as around average, a little bit below average, 42 percentile out of 50 being.
Yeah, I will say this: I think what we learned about Yasmani Grandal is that he is not the reason that so many people steal bases on the White Sox.
No,
because even when he was not playing, that was a gigantic problem. And I think I believe it was early in the season that he told us, we were talking to him about that issue, and it was he very much laid out, hey, it's not just the catcher, it's the catcher and the pitcher. And as the season went on, it didn't matter who was behind the plate for the White Sox, and often it didn't matter who was on the mound because all these pitchers seemed to have this issue, but teams were just running all over them constantly. And I think it was very noticeable with certain guys like Michael Kopech, but it really applied to pitchers across the board.
I think his offense was nothing higher than a D-. Defense, I would put it a D. And what was the other one?
It was just overall.
So
D.
Herb's mad about that plus.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you want to give him a lower defense, I really don't care.
If not worse. Like, D would be the most generous grade I can give Yasmani Grandal for this year. Probably F because he was just atrocious.
I mean, yeah, the whole team was. I mean, that's basically we can do this entire series. We can go position by position. You just give everyone an F.
Except center field.
Center field.
There's some people who didn't, like, when we do Andrew Vaughn, I won't give him an F across the board. Man, he had some positivity. I don't know what's positive about Yasmani Grandal.
Oh, nothing.
Well, except for you said he caught the most games in his White Sox tenure this year. Fine. Good.
I think he tried to be out there, and he did that for the best that a 34-year-old Yasmani Grandal could.
Give the man props for working his ass off. We know he did that during the offseason, and he apparently continued to do so as he made it to the end of the season.
And just to add, StatCast also has these catching grades. Blocks above average, he was a 61. Again, 50 would be average. Caught stealing, a 2. Which is one of the worst in Major League Baseball. His framing was a 72, so that was still positive. And then his pop time was the worst in catching. So, I mean, like, couldn't throw anyone out. Also, no one could keep anyone on first base. But yeah, I mean, you always seem to be more offended by the blocks and the balls that get away. I don't know. I was a lefty. I was never catching. Catching was never my bag. I don't care.
Catching's hard. It's really fucking hard. And so I'm not going to act like it isn't. But there's so many times where I don't even know if it's just him, where you see a ball that he called, and you know this pitcher's a little erratic, and it's going to be Bummer, it could be Kopech, etc., where the ball is, yes, not in the perfect place, but also you're backhanding the ball. That's not fundamental. You're supposed to move your weight over in front of the ball, get your chest down so the ball just goes straight down to the ground. So many times him, Sebi, etc. didn't do those type of things. And, yeah, he has knee problems, but you chose the profession, you chose the position you were at. And
more importantly, the White Sox chose to put him back there.
Yeah, exactly.
The contract,
and you called the pitch, so you know what's coming. Get in front of that ball. And sometimes it just says lack of effort on the catcher to get in front of the ball. I don't need you to do, like, the hero stuff. You don't need to be JT Realmuto, also hit and field. Just be average at all that stuff. Average is fine. As somebody brought up earlier, James McCann, he was pretty decent when he was a White Sox, and that's one of the reasons why the White Sox brought him in, because James McCann was a journeyman before that he came here to the White Sox, and then had a pretty good year when he was splitting time with Yasmani Grandal. If we can have that as our catching position, where it's a net zero, just a minimum zero, instead of the worst catching in baseball. You know what I mean? I don't need it to be the top, just minimum. Don't cost us runs, and hit a couple home runs every once in a while.
Yeah, and Yasmani he didn't have the pop to do that. How many home runs did he end up finishing?
8?
Did he? Yeah, 8. Hey,
yeah,
not bad. I mean, that's the
more
one
hits
thing.
than Korey
Again,
Lee,
like,
though.
huh?
It's more hits than Korey Lee.
And
It's more
hits than
home runs than Korey Lee had hits, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
5 to 8. Yeah, 2022, Grandal had an OPS plus of 64. In 2023, 77. So hey, you see a 13-point improvement there, and I think for a 34-year-old who might be playing his last season, that's pretty decent.
I think somebody's going to sign him.
Well, we'll talk about it in a second, Herb.
I would not really describe that as decent.
Going to an ad break. Well, no,
I will
but
commend him for getting to the end of the year in relative health.
I'm saying
I will commend him for his work ethic, but the production, 77.
Okay. In the very, very, very short view of Yasmani Grandal being 33 and having an OPS of 570, and then the next year having an OPS of 647, that is what word did I use that you're offended by?
You said pretty decent.
Yeah, it's pretty decent for a 34-year-old catcher.
It's not pretty decent for anybody. That's why it's on the scale of 100.
What's the average OPS plus for a 34-year-ld catcher?
I don't know, but they don't have 34-year-old
Yeah,
catchers.
maybe you shouldn't have one, right?
Well, I didn't sign them. All right, let's take a break. Want to let you know about our friends over at Goose Island Beer
Honk,
Company.
Honk, honk.
Let's see.
CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer since 1988. Their beer roster includes the Beer Hug family, the 312 Wheat Ale, the Full Pocket Pills, and, of course, Oktoberfest, as it's October 17th, and we are coming closer and closer to the 31st. It is Halloween, and what better beer to have at your Halloween party than Goose Island? Whether it be Oktoberfest, whether it be 312, whether it be a smattering of brews.
If some folks come to the door, check their IDs. If they're 21 plus, maybe that goes in their little jack-o'-lantern thing, a little trick-or-treat for beer, but of course 21 plus. Check the ID.
It'd be a very nice household. You got a little candy for the kids, and
Right.
then the parents.
Candy for the kids,
Treat
beer
one
for
too.
the folks. There you go.
Just avoid cops because you can't walk around with open liquor. Grab an ultra fresh brewery exclusive beer at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer, and we have a tailgate coming up this Sunday with Goose Island. There's going to be all you can drink. Goose Island at our tailgate. We also have all you can eat firewater barbecue. So make sure you head over to allchgo.com/events. Buy your tickets now and come enjoy some of the city's best beer right before the Bears game. Also want to let you know. Ooh, wait. Why did I just do a Goose Island read? So I screwed up. It's okay.
For the tailgate we're having. Right?
You did a Goose Island read because they're Chicago's beer since 1988.
I did it too early, though. It's supposed to be the second break.
All right.
Anyways,
just do some flipping and flopping.
Just go to CIRCA. Let's let you know about our friends over at CIRCA. It is the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Download the app today and try out the fantastic new sports book that is in Illinois. You'll enjoy tight money line splits and a low model hold where games will strive to be a -110 split on the CIRCA sports menu, unlike other sports book. And we can look now live at the CIRCA live odds, and they're going to continue to post odds for teams to win the series. So right now you can lay -500 for the Rangers to win the series. I don't know if you want to, but if you think the Astros might come back, +395 for them. If you think the D-backs, the answer-backs can make a comeback in the NLCS, that's +315. But if you also want to look towards the World Series, Phillies are currently the favorite at +125. They also got Bears lines, currently +3 at home versus the Raiders. Will it be Justin Fields? Will it be Tyson Bagent? I don't know. Maybe even Trace McSorley, who was signed. And the over-under is 37.5. It's the lowest posted total of the week. And again, if it's over-under 37.5, whether it's over, whether it's under, that is usually, it's going to strive to be a -110 lay for you at CIRCA Sportsbook. So download the app if you haven't already at circasports.com/Illinois-app. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for CIRCA events like our tailgate, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or somebody you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537, text GMB 833-234, or visit areyourreallywinning.com. And I think CIRCA is going to be out tonight at the Bears thing. We got Carm and Greg out at Wings and Rings. What time is that? 7? Okay.
Greg's over there. He can tell you.
Greg, what time are you doing your thing? Okay, Greg can't hear us. Oh, good.
Oh.
All right, well.
He's working.
At some point.
Also, that's Mario.
Like a jerk.
Oh, okay. At some point, Carm and Greg will be at Wings and Rings, and they'll be interviewing Javon Dexter of the Chicago Bears. So go check them out with Collector's Cave. And I do think CIRCA is going to be out there as well.
Yeah, and I looked up 34-year-old catchers from the White Sox specifically. A.J. Pierzynski. He also hit 8 home runs that year when he was 34, but hit 287, 323, 405. We should keep Yasmani for next year because if he's going to do like A.J. did, 27 home runs with an OPS plus of 120. So look for a bounce back from Yasmani Grandal if he goes on the A.J. Pierzynski diet.
Okay, so if he has the career trajectory of A.J. Pierzynski, we should sign Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah.
What was your vibe after you spoke with Yasmani Grandal after the season wrapped up? I know we got some quotes here. We were going to play the video, but he kind of mumbles. There's quotes that I could read for you, but I mean, what was the sense that you got after speaking with Yasmani?
I mean, I think it was a guy who was looking back very much what we were just talking about earlier. He was happy with what he was able to do from a health standpoint. And, I mean, a lot of these guys don't set individual goals in terms of, I want to hit X home runs. I want to hit X, X hits. I want to have X walks or X RBIs. They don't do that very much. They set some more unquantifiable goals for themselves. And I think every player, particularly the ones who have been on this White Sox team for the last few years, value being on the field so much. I brought it up over and over again with Luis Robert Jr., right? A guy who went out and put up some phenomenal numbers this season, and the one he cared the most about was the number of games that he played in, because he hadn't done that in his career. He hadn't been able to show that he could stay healthy, to prove to himself that he is able to be on the field as long as he was. Which, by the way, this was something that Rick Hahn said over and over again, that the White Sox believed that if these guys would just stay on the field and stay healthy, they would produce. Luis Robert Jr. showed that. To go back to Yasmani, he didn't produce, but he was happy with his ability to play in as many games as he did this year. It was a guy who was probably, like a lot of people who not only had to play for, but had to sit and watch this White Sox team this year, relieved that a very horrible season was over. But it was a guy also who was kind of already starting to look back on the last 4 years that he spent here, because I don't think anybody expects there to be any more than that. I mean, whether or not this is it for Yasmani Grandal, it's very almost certainly it for Yasmani Grandal as a White Sox. And so you got a little bit of that in there too. Yasmani's a guy who didn't talk to us very much. He was a guy who had a very he had a routine that he stuck to very strictly, and that usually meant that his time before games was taken up to the minute every single day. And so it made him unique in that clubhouse, and that you never really saw him at all because he was off doing something. And, so if people were going to ask, oh, what was he like in the clubhouse? What was he like with his teammates? There weren't those moments of them, and I'm sure there were that we weren't privy to, but there weren't those long conversations where, the pitcher and the catcher sit at the locker and get ready for the game. That maybe had to take place later or had to take place, in a smaller amount of time because the stuff that he was doing to make sure that his body was ready was taking up a lot of time and a strict amount of time on a regular basis. So it was unique in that we got to hear from him, period, because those group interviews with Yasmani only came about 3 or 4 times a year. That being said, when they did come about, he was insightful. And I especially look back to the 2020 and 2021 seasons when Zoom was still a thing, when he would get on those post-game, he usually had a lot of interesting stuff to say, and it was maybe a little bit more regular because it aligned a little better. It was a little easier if he was able to jump on that Zoom. But overall, when he talked, the stuff that he had to say was revealing and in a good way.
Yeah, and I think if you would have told us and we would have did a show before the season and said, hey, Yasmani Grandal is going to play around 120 games this year, what do you see as the numbers? I think we would have been flabbergasted at what they actually turned out to be. So, yes, he posted, and posting is great, and I ask for that all the time. But we can clearly see that he's either on his last legs, figuratively and literally, or he was actually hurt like the whole season. He was playing through pain like we've seen many White Sox playing this year. And so, yeah, posting matters, and it's good for your team. And I think the example of Jose Abreu posting and also getting numbers is a good and bad thing for the White Sox because you see that man playing through some things that others wouldn't and then producing. The numbers would be as such. I think some people are, and I hate the term, but if you guys need to understand what I'm saying, 100%ers, where they need to be as healthy as they can be to perform. And so I don't know necessarily if Yasmani is a 100%er, but the numbers say as much. If he's not healthy, he's not going to be driving the ball. I mean, and the catching by itself in the summer probably wears on a person more than any other position. So he wasn't healthy, and then his profession is actually making him even more less healthy. And so the numbers are not going to be there for continuing on through his career. And so the 8 home runs is very disappointing, but I think now if we look back in reality and saw what all the injuries he did have, it kind of makes sense that he only had 8 home runs because the power wasn't really there the whole time. I remember him dropping the bat so many times on fly balls to the warning track. I'm like, doesn't have it anymore.
You think some team's going to sign him?
They're going to sign him, man. He's a veteran player. That the possibility of him popping off could be better, and I guarantee somebody's going to sign him.
He said, I'm going to test it to Vinny in the pool. I'm going to test the market and see what's out there. I've got 2 young boys that love baseball, love sports, but don't really like to be away from dad too much. I've got to take that into consideration as well. Once it gets here, I'll sit down and really go through it and think about it and see if it fits. I guess we'll go from there and then follow it up if he was going to play next year. I haven't really thought about it too much. I just wanted to get through this year and see how it went. Quite frankly, aside from 19, I guess, this is the first full year I've been able to actually stay healthy. Usually when I have a healthy year, the next year is actually pretty good. I found a routine and a workout regimen that fits what I'm trying to do. I'm really seeing where I'm at in the offseason going from there. So, I mean, if he finds the fountain of youth, and has the ability to bounce back like a 31-year-old catcher, then sure. But I don't have that faith, and it'd be great to see him, and it'd be great to see Yasmani Grandal have a 35-year-old season like AJ Pierzynski, but I just don't. I mean, there's no magic in that old silk hat.
We're using that on a regular basis.
You told me to.
I did. I like it.
What's that from?
Frosty the Snowman.
Frosty the Snowman?
You're not familiar with that one?
I've heard it, but I've heard of the movie. I've never seen it.
Again, it's in the song. You just need to hear the song.
Once you start singing, I'm like, I'm out.
Because once they put it on his head, he began to dance around.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
what you don't have to worry about, Sean,
Yasmani doesn't seem like a dancer.
Yeah, you never know. He's got little kids. People dance with little kids. I don't think you need to worry about the old silk hat being put to the test in a White Sox uniform. I mean, that's going to be, I don't want to say someone else's problem, but someone else's thing to deal with if it's anybody's thing to deal with.
I mean,
he was very. You read the quotes. He was very non-committal about whether he's going to be back next year.
What position he's going to play? He's not going to. It doesn't seem like catching's extremely fruitful for a 35-year-old. He wasn't that good at first base and didn't play that much at first base. He doesn't really hit.
Right. That would be the problem for me if I was a general manager.
I mean, maybe he gets a spring training invite, but
yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
People have done a lot with that before.
You think?
Training down in Miami, I know. He can get a job somewhere.
The Marlins do like their veterans.
Yeah, one team, like the Pirates or some other team that just needs to fill out a minimum of the MLB. It's like, oh, let's go to MLB veteran Yasmani Grandal, see what he gives us, and then we'll flip him at trade deadline if he is the old Yasmani.
You don't think the A's would throw a couple $1 million Yasmani's way?
Why would he go to the A's?
Because they would give him a couple $1 million.
He has made $100 million in his career. I think it's a good time to retire.
Viva Yas Vegas.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, no, just retire. Go enjoy your kids.
But also, like, this is the thing. Like, they got to find an outlet that is either equal or surpasses what's going on in their baseball career. They can't just quit baseball and just like, I'm just going to stay at home with the kids, which is cool.
I mean, some people can.
But I don't think, an intense athlete like him is just going to be like, you know what? I'm good. No more competing for me. I'm just going to sit back, relax, enjoy the kids. And when spring training comes, he's like, hey, man, goddamn, that itch is coming again. I need to play baseball again. It's going to be hard to give up. And he's only, 35? It's young.
He's 30. Yeah, going to be 35 in November.
I think Herb means young in life.
Yeah. Oh, right. Well, no, yeah, that makes me think of the one tweet. It's like me, a 32-year-old man, and it's like baseball announcer, and he's 32 years old, the walking miracle in baseball. And it's like that's what announcers are doing to Evan Longoria right now because he's 35. Anyways, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get a little bit into if Yasmani Grandal isn't going to be here. Who will be? Mm-hmm. Let's let you know about how I started my morning. I started my morning today with our new friends over at Hero Bread. I started using Hero Bread because they sent us some, and I tried it.
There you go.
It was very good. I tried the seeded bread, and I had a little bit of avocado toast, all right? Toasted very normally like bread. It was all of the bread experiences, but it's just lower in net carbs, lower in sugar, higher in fiber, and each slice was delicious and toasted exactly like bread. It's exactly like bread.
Would you describe it as
heroic?
Would you describe it as bready?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's very bready.
Oh, there you go.
It's soft like bread.
Sure.
It's squishy like bread.
Those are two things that mean almost the same thing. But
sure. It's grainy like bread.
There you go.
It's fluffy. It's delicious. It's incredible. I really like the texture. Again, I got the seeded one, which I don't know if it's everyone's bag, but there's a ton of different kinds of the Hero Bread out there. And use code CHGO when you go over to herobread.com or hero.com to save 10% today. This is the first time doing the read. Bear with me. But I really like the texture. Like, obviously, you got the nice toasted texture, but the actual seeded texture was very nice, especially with an avocado toast. Smear avocado toast, smashed it down, put a little salt, put a little pepper, had a little bacon on top of it. It was very nice. Yeah, I took a very cool
You got to
photo.
add sriracha to your avocado toast.
I'm not a huge sriracha person. I also heard like there's a shortage of sriracha.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm well aware
lot,
of that one.
Yeah.
It takes forever for me to get sriracha.
Isn't it sriracha? Is there another R in
There
there?
are 2 R's, but
Sriracha.
Oh, I don't know.
but you can just get sambal leek, which is like a hot above sriracha. But also, I had Hero Bread, but they gave me the flour tortillas.
You like it?
Oh my God. I thought it was going to be like some like cardboard because, when I see healthy stuff or stuff that's, with zero net carbs as a type 2 diabetic, I need this stuff. I'm like, it's going to taste like grain. No. Tastes exact. You wouldn't know that it had all these dietary fiber inside of it and very little net carbs. It tastes exactly like a flour tortilla taste. Soft, pillowy. Had some nice chicken bites in there. Delicious.
Look at you.
Got one at the crib still.
It says Hero makes sliced breads, buns, and tortillas that are available on hero.co and Amazon. Right now, Hero Bread is offering CHGO, the CHGO fam, 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co and use our code CHGO to save on Hero Bread today. That's HERO.co to save 10% today. Whether you're a type 2 diabetic like Herb, you're watching the sugars, or if you're just trying to add a delicious twist to your bread or your bread in the morning. All right. I'm not a natural.
Fancy with your avocado toast.
I'm not a natural salesperson.
You put eggs in it?
You can.
Okay.
Doesn't that make it a breakfast sandwich at that point?
I mean, pretty much it is a breakfast sandwich.
But usually it's the avocado toast is like it's open faced.
It's like a piece of toast.
Sandwich, yeah.
I like just jelly on toast.
That's pretty good.
But I've moved. The last time I went to go get some jelly at the Jewels, I went with a strawberry preserves instead. That's very good on the toast.
Do you not put butter on the toast before you put the jelly?
No, jelly only.
I like I like butter. Yeah, butter.
Butter
the bread.
and jelly?
Yeah, you butter the bread, so then it's softer.
Doesn't that jelly just slide right off of it?
No, like you got to get the butter that melts immediately on the bread. And then, yes, I know what you mean. So it looks weird and it's got the butter underneath.
The idea would be to make the jelly as spreadable as possible. If you put a layer of butter down, it's like trying to spread jelly on ice.
I don't think you've tried this.
Jelly on ice.
I think I want you to try this tomorrow. Go toast some bread,
wow.
Put some butter on it, then
try
to maneuver. A lot of people have figured it out. It's going to be a real difficult
I don't like my
one.
chances.
And it's like threading a needle and buttering bread. Want to let you know about our friends over at Ray Chevy. Are you in the market for a new or used vehicle? If you are, then we have some great news because Ray Chevy in Fox Lake is a part of the CHGO team. They let us know about their pledge, the Ray Price Promise. Not Ray Price's Promise. Ray
to note.
Price Promise. The guarantee that the price you see online is the price you pay when you go into the dealership. And they found, in many cases, other dealers, they'll raise the price on you when you come into the dealership asking things like, are you a recent college grad?
No.
Are you active in the military?
No, I'm not.
Wow, Herb is irritated by this line of questioning.
Herb, are you a farmer?
No.
Well, of course he's irritated because he just thought that it was the price he saw online. And, since he answered no to all those questions, that's when other dealers will raise the price on you, saying the price online included limited rebates that you do not qualify for. But at Ray, that's not the case. The price you see online is the price you pay with no add-ons to the price ever. And in fact, Ray will do everything possible to find additional savings for you, which may make the price even lower than you see online. As one of the top-selling dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories. And right now, you can save big at Ray Chevy during their Truck or Treat savings event.
Truck or Treat!
Because 0% is back and now available on new Silverado trucks. The perfect tailgating vehicle. So come on into Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake and find the vehicle you've been searching for. I guess I should have read that in a different cadence. Find the vehicle you've been searching for. Best of all, pay zero hidden fees and the Ray Price Promise. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. Serving the community since 1963. Find new roads. And finally, want to let you know about our friends over at FOCO. We got no FOCO stuff on the table right now, but they're behind us, smattering the little ledge there. We got the TA one.
A red line bobblehead.
A red line TA, 35th and Shields bobblehead, the Southpaw bobblehead back there as well, the Vinnie special. Go check out our friends over at FOCO. They donated some lovely set decorations for our shows, not only for the Sox, but the Cubs, Blackhawks, Bulls. Get fitted in the best sports gear around over at FOCO.com. That's FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below for online presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. You get hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between, like those crazy Cubs overalls that look like a Cubs uniform. You also got like the no, I don't want them. It's okay. I don't need the Cubs. You can put them on if you want.
We're gonna burn them.
It's your life, Lawrence.
There are no Sox overalls?
I mean, they have them, but not here.
Oh, they have them.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Go get yourself some Sox
I
overalls.
saw our Philly people with their overalls from.
Does that mean we have them now?
Do we, as CHGO, have them?
But
No.
The White Sox.
I'm sure the White Sox have them.
All right. Well,
Maybe they just sell
extensive.
big socks.
big sock. Like like you just like a sleeping bag basically, but it's a sock.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
you making things up.
Advertise this. You pitch this to the FOCO folks.
I don't know who would buy it. I don't. think anyone would want a giant sock to sleep in. Anyways, go check out FOCO. They do have a ton. I don't know. I mean, I see the Yankees, I see the Brewers, but FOCO and use promo code CHGO for 10% off. Yeah, no, there's no White Sox.
Sarah went to FOCO and she's doing some shopping.
They got the pinstripe Cubs ones.
They have like the cutest little Halloween things on there too.
Ones.
Oh my God.
But anyways, I don't know if there's a huge collaring. I don't know if White Sox fans are big overall fans. I don't know if there's enough.
That's a good point.
Crossover there. Right. Yeah. Usually shirtless, as Lauren said. All right. Let's jump into Korey Lee and Carlos Perez as well. Is Korey Lee going to be on the opening day roster? Because I
would think so.
Pedro was. You asked Pedro in the sit down interview, right?
Yeah. I talked to Pedro. So yeah, Pedro was very, very impressed with Korey Lee. I think Pedro, remember, he's a guy with a big catching background. Why do not we advertise the Yoan Moncada Game of Thrones bobblehead?
I don't know, but Sarah immediately exited out of it.
So I didn't realize you guys were.
I was being very distracted. I'm trying to talk about Korey Lee, and I'm just
I
doing
I
some
was
Christmas shopping there.
You're a big GOT fan?
No, I've seen the first couple episodes, and I was like, meh. It's very sad.
Yeah.
I need a little bit more jokes in my stuff. Anyway, Korey Lee, I think he'll be on the team next year. Pedro was very impressed kind of with the ability to act like a catcher that Korey Lee has, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. The kind of personality and mindset and the way you are with your teammates, all those things, the handling of a pitching staff side of it, that Korey Lee is getting really high marks for, and I think it'll only continue to get better because it appears from, a personality standpoint that he has the ability to succeed in that type of role. It's, can he produce to stay at the major league level? Can he continue to improve his defense to be the kind of guy that can be depended on? He's got such a small sample size in the major leagues that, you lost all the oxygen in your body over the 5 hits that he had when I brought it up the other day, but it is very true that it was a small sample size. So I am unsure right now, though, whether he would be given the keys to the number one job and say, hey, take your time in a developmental season as becoming the major league catcher we think you can be, or if they say, we're going to go out and get a veteran guy who can top the depth chart, but stick around, keep learning, and maybe you'll be a guy in the future. I don't think they have any plans on him going anywhere. They traded for this guy. It's a guy they wanted to bring in their organization. And while not the highly rated prospect that Edgar Quero is, remember that guy's one of the highest rated prospects in baseball, Korey Lee's still well thought of, right? And so I think that if their future catching tandem is Quero and Lee, that's probably in their mind a good thing. But neither of those guys is exactly ready for prime time yet. They could take the chance on letting Lee get to that point as a major leaguer and go through the growing pains as a major leaguer while kind of waiting for Quero, so to speak. But we'll see what direction they want to go in. We keep talking about the moves that they might or might not make. Obviously, Salvi Perez is a catcher. But, if they go the veteran route for a guy who can be a number one guy, maybe that helps them get closer to being a competitive team next year, depending on what all the other moves around the diamond entail. Early in the offseason, or early in the season, rather, Herb, you and I were looking ahead to the potential free agents, and there's a guy who's playing in the ALCS right now who's going to be on that free agent list in Martin Maldonado, who
John is
really, because he might win a World Series for the second year in a row.
That's great. That's more because of the other 25 players on the damn team.
There's another guy, though, also in that same series that I'm more eyeing, and he's played in this AL Central also, and so it's Mitch Garver would be more the guy I'm looking for than Martin Maldonado. But I'm not going to poo-poo Martin Maldonado after I said what catching is. Martin Maldonado does, just anecdotally, before you look up the numbers, and you can look up the numbers, Sean, he does exactly what I think he is. He's a plus catcher at the position of catcher.
Pitchers love him.
Yeah, and he can hit every once in a while. He's not a great hitter, but he can hit every once in a while. That's all I want. Like, for catchers, I want you to be catcher first, hitter second. It's the only position I would say that for as the position player. And I think that Korey Lee, for the stuff that he does, just outside view, looking at him, looks like he's a leader. He looked like he took control and reins of that team, especially when he was on the mound and going for talk to the pitcher, looked like he took the reins as a rookie, not meeting these people beforehand, and just like pretty much saying, "Hey, I'm in control. I'm the leader today," and that's what you have to be. And if he can hit anything, goodness gracious, only 5 hits, Sean. What is his average? Below 100?
It was .077.
I'm not asking for him to crush. I'm asking for him to get above the Mendoza line. That's it. And it looked like his pop time was good. He was throwing out runners from time to time. Yeah, he could be a nice backup until he catches up to speed. And maybe the bat is never going to come there. But as a backup, I'll take Korey Lee next year for the White Sox backup if they get a catcher of Martin Maldonado or Mitch Garver's ilk. Gary Sanchez a little less because he just bat only for the most part for me now. But I would mostly go with a veteran catcher that's going to actually help you out with Korey Lee being the backup.
If Gary Sanchez is coming with Blake Snell, let's go. But I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, if that's a package deal, yes, I'm in.
Just to focus on Korey Lee before we get into Martin Maldonado and Mitch Garver.
I know you're poo-pooing these guys. Yes,
I didn't say anything.
I
just
you
said
poo-pooed
their
Martin
names.
Maldonado before.
I did, and you'll hear why I poo-pooed Martin Maldonado. Korey Lee barrel percentage in 2023, 4.4, major league average, 6.9, average exit velocity, 85.3, MLB average, 88.4, average MLB expected weighted on base average, 315. Korey Lee's was 238. So not good. The one thing that I will give Korey Lee credit for, he did walk on a team that just never walked, 7.1%, which was a lot for, I think, a White Sox with a walk rate around 7.
And remember, small sample size, too. So if he plays in a whole year, he could have as many as 30 hits.
That's true. Hey, look at that. I mean,
that was a joke. That was a math joke, people.
I wonder. I could do that math, maybe. But
he played for a month. 5 times 6 is 30.
Oh, that's good math.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Okay. There you go. All right. A human calculator over there. So we got some Korey Lee StatCast stuff for catching as well. 61 percentile in blocks above average, so 50 would be average. So he had value of 2 in that. Caught stealing above average, 44. That was -1. But with a pop time that was 81 percentile, 1.91 seconds, and didn't grade out as a framer, but I guess it said -1. You look at the caught stealing above average and the great pop time. He's probably just getting screwed over by the pitchers and by those metrics.
And he's just starting out too. I mean, we always hear about guys getting used to the speed of the major league game. Speed, that's literally the speed of the major league game right there. So, I mean, I don't think that 1 month is representative of finished product Korey Lee by any stretch of the imagination. It's more about what, again, the overarching question of the offseason, what are the White Sox trying to do next year? If they're trying to win, I would think you would want a starting catcher that isn't Korey Lee next year.
Yes.
If you're shooting for 2025, I think your objective should be to get Korey Lee as good as you can get him by 2025, right? In which case, give him the majority of the playing time, right?
If it's 2025, I'm waiting for Edgar Quero.
Maybe. I mean, the guy's 20 years old.
Yeah.
He still is 20 years old.
I mean, what do you expect from the catcher position? I mean, we're not doing like the actual, let's dive in. So if you don't have a name, but is it Martin Maldonado? Is it Mitch Garver? Is it anyone to fill that role?
Expecting,
is it a 1-year deal?
Salvador Perez. That's who they're going to get. I don't want that. But
Martin Maldonado would be much cheaper than Salvi Perez.
And I think better for the team, too, overall. You would have a better team with Martin Maldonado than Salvador Perez. Multiple factors. The money you're giving to the two people so you can go and spend it other places. I think Martin Maldonado will give you, I don't know, just as good, but he'll give you fine catching back there. And much better catcher than Salvi Perez is.
Did you see Carlos Correa after the Twins got eliminated? They were asking him what's with the offense. You guys were doing well, and now the offense went nowhere. And he said it was Martin Maldonado calling the games, saying he knows every hitter every which way. That's his former teammate, so it makes sense that he would know how he operates. But that's the first person he mentioned is not just first person. That's the reason he gave as to why the Twins offense didn't perform up to snuff in that series against the Astros.
Why are they down 2-0 against the Rangers?
The Rangers are better.
Golly, yeah, the Rangers could hit the ball. Goodness gracious!
I just like hearing that the Twins suck. Yeah, the one thing with Maldonado, and I get it, the defense is there. Obviously, one of the better or if not like the premier game planning catchers out there. One, probably is invaluable to Houston.
Yeah.
So if he's gonna play in 2024, I would be surprised if it's not for Houston. But also, the past 3 years, an OPS plus of 64 in over 1,200 plate appearances.
Not good.
Yeah. Over 1,000 at bats. He's got a batting average of 183, on base percentage of 260, slugging percentage of 333. OPS under 600. Not good.
And when you're the Astros, you can afford to have one guy who does that. When you're the White Sox, you need offense from every which way.
What's his overall WAR in those times? Does the glove override the terrible bat? No. Is it just average? Is it just a...
In the past 3 seasons, in 354 games, 0.6 WAR. That's B WAR. Let me rush to Fangraphs.
I mean, as I said before, that's all I need. That's
what?
Just a catcher that doesn't cost you. That seems exactly what that is. He's just a league average catcher, but as we see from his teammates, he brings so much more than just the numbers that are raw.
Yeah, worth negative 0.6 FWAR in the past 3 years.
Wow, so he's worse at 4 than he is at WAR.
Yes, worse at 4.
Negative 0.6, so they even each other out.
Perfect zero.
Sure.
He's a 0.
So he's
got as much as the 3 of us.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. He's better than Korey Lee. All right, Korey Lee was negative 0.7. So
only
a month.
Only a month. Yeah. That hitting was just terrible.
His OPS was negative 22. His OPS plus was negative 22.
That's horrible.
Those walks helped him out a little bit, but not that much.
Yeah, not good. You mentioned waiting for Quero.
Yeah.
Reminded me of waiting for Guffman or
Good
waiting
movie.
for Godot. If you want to flash the Edgar Quero stats here, Sarah, 31 games for Edgar Quero since he became a White Sox.
He's coming down from the ceiling too.
I didn't know what to do. We just had that one photo of him, so I was like,
it should have been in all 4 corners.
Yeah, I could have.
That's what we do with the Dell metrics. We just put their faces all over the graphic.
There you go. Our Wunderkind, Edgar Quero. These are his stats with Double-A Birmingham. 31 games, 134 plate appearances, 31 hits, 4 doubles, 3 homers, 277 average, 366 on base percentage, and a 393 slugging. The one thing that did stick out to me was obviously the power or lack of power there with a sub 400 slugging percentage, and I do wonder how much of that was based on Birmingham's actual ballpark, home ballpark. So I am going to try to figure that out. But like, is 2024 too soon for the 81st prospect in baseball to be like, do we see Edgar Quero being an August call up, a September call up if, this is a team that's not competitive in 2024?
I would be surprised just because that man can't drink yet. I mean, I'm not saying that's a requirement to be called up, but that's just to hammer it home. He's a young guy, and I think what's the hurt in letting him develop? I mean, you just showed it right there. Only 31 games with Birmingham. That's the entirety of his Double-A experience with the White Sox. Why not give him a few more, right? And then send him up to Charlotte, and then give him a full season at Charlotte. Why not? I mean, Again, it does depend on what this White Sox team is going to do, but at the same time, White Sox fans are constantly wondering why are the minor leagues not up to snuff? Why are they not contributing the way they should on a rolling basis? We remember Rick Hahn talking about how just as much as producing a long-term contender at the major league level, he wanted to get the farm system in a state where it could constantly be replenishing that big league roster. It's not there. So why not just look to next year and say it's okay if there's a guy that comes up in 2025 or 2026? Because guess what? The White Sox want to be good then too. And Edgar Quero is a big part of the future, you would imagine. Let the guy develop. If he continues to develop at the rate he's at, I'm sure he's one of the youngest players in Double-A, or he was when the White Sox acquired him at least. Then good for him. Maybe he can be the guy who flies through the system. But he's a catcher. Let him learn. Let him get that knowledge base and let him come up and show people, like you said, the same things that Korey Lee impressed with when he came up. Oh, that guy knows what he's doing in terms of handling a pitching staff. That guy can jump right in and impress you with the way he's acting. Let Edgar Quero do that too, and maybe it takes him a little bit more time. Remember, Korey Lee played in college. he was 20 by the time he joined a pro organization. So let Edgar Quero take his time to develop, because I think if you're a White Sox fan, you want their prospect of success in 25 and 26 and beyond to be just as good as you want their prospect for success next year to be.
According to Baseball Reference, he is 3.5 years younger than the average AA player, and so he's very young. And I would say the same, Vinny. I would want him to do a full year down in Birmingham if he's good. Put him up to Charlotte, do whatever you need to do, but never see him in 2024 for the White Sox Major League Club, just because he's so young. And yes, he is over 1,000 at-bats in the minor leagues, but why not 1,500? Why not just exhaust as many options you have for this young player down there? As I said with Oscar Colas, let him just knock the door down instead of giving him a promotion just because you have an open spot there. Say, okay, we're going to go and get another catcher, a veteran catcher, and sign him for however many years, 1, 2, 3. And if you prove to us through your work down in AA and AAA that you're ready for Major League Baseball, cool, we'll send you up here, but we're not giving you a job. There's not an open spot like there was for Oscar Colas for him to compete at the Major League level. You have to prove it to us that you are worthy of this spot and that we're not going to send you back down after we bring you up here. So, yeah, let him go all 2024 down in the minors and in 2025 to start the year until he proves otherwise that he is ready to be the guy. And in 2025, he'll be 22. Baby.
Yeah. April 6th is his birthday. So, I mean, I don't even think opening day 2024 will happen, and I don't think he'll be 21 yet.
Can't even drink. That's amazing.
So, just to hammer more home about how young this kid is, and real quick, because I brought up the away home splits, 14 away games, 3 extra base hits in those away games, 17 home games, 4 extra base hits in those games. So, basically about the same. My favorite stat on Baseball Reference, especially for minor leaguers, is their plate appearances against older pitchers. Edgar Quero has had 17 plate appearanrances against younger pitchers.
How is it that many?
Huh?
How is it that
many? Probably one guy.
Well, when you're in like rookie ball.
Oh, okay. This is career.
Yeah, this is career. In his past 3 seasons, he's had 1,126 plate appearances. So only 17 of them. He's had 11,000 more, 1,100 plate appearances against older pitchers in his 3 years of professional baseball.
He's learning quick.
He is learning quick, and he's very good, too. If you want to flash the next stat graphic here, this is from RM Layton, and I don't know if I've shared this or not on the podcast yet, but highest OPS by a teenage prospect since 2010 who had at least 400 plate appearances. 2017, Bo Bichette had the highest.
Most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy.
Yes. Yeah. But credit everyone for his Boba Fett
That's
joke.
an oldie but a goodie.
So 2017 Bo Bichette in A-ball and advanced day, 988 OPS. Edgar Quero in 2022 with the Angels, 965 in A-ball. 2023 Samuel Basallo, I don't know that player, 953 OPS. 2013 Byron Buxton, 944 OPS. 2023 Jackson Holiday, 941 OPS. 2010 Will Myers, 934 OPS. And 2010 Mike Trout, OPS at 918. So pretty good names on there outside of the ones from 2023 like Holiday and Basallo that we don't know yet.
But all the rest of the major leaguers there have done damage in the major leagues. Like Will Myers won the Rookie of the Year, was still solid with the Padres a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, all those players, if Edgar Quero can be a shadow of any of those major league players, mercy. Goodness gracious, in 20,
especially considering one of them is Mike Trout.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. What if he's like Mike Trout, but a catcher? You know, that'd be cool.
I mean, it's over.
That was a good one too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
The White Sox will trade him.
All right. Anything else we need to add to the catchers?
We'll see.
It's about 4:36, so we've been live for an hour. So you're welcome, Kavan. Even though we were late, we still gave you an hour of Chicago White Sox talk. That's Vinnie Duber. If you still need a fixing, he's got an article up at allchgo.com. Some coaching staff changes. Daryl Boston Kurt Hassler, Chris Johnson, Jorge Castro, to name a few.
Jose Castro. Yeah.
Jose Castro, if I can actually name him properly. Go read up on what Vinnie had to write at allchgo.com about Chris Getz's first move as general manager, and that's Herb Lawrence.
I just read that Edgar Quero from the same hometown as Yoan Moncada.
Ooh.
Cienfuegos.
Yes.
Bad weather.
And Jose Abreu played for Cienfuegos.
What is it? CN is 100, right?
100,
yeah.
So
105.
hot.
105.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty hot. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Actonwell23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. We will talk to you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.